it up loud. Turn it up loud! Pop culture legends and a feral little crowd. Ink still wet, the gossip still hot. Yapping the truth that nobody's got. The Yap
Out of the group chat.
Tapes!
This is the Yap Tapes for the Yapper Gazette. Today's guest has been famous longer than most of you have been alive, standing at peak 1987 heartthrob elevation, weighing in at two of the most iconic babysitting movies ever committed to film. He is a third-generation Hollywood royalty. His grandfather starred with Charlie Chaplin, played Uncle Fester, and then got an entire California law named after him, protecting children's actors' money since 1939. He survived a night in Chicago with Elizabeth Shue and lived to tell the tale. He did not tell mom the babysitter was dead. He looked directly at the camera of the early 90s and declared, "The dishes are done, man." And a generation of latchkey kids felt seen. He is the voice of young Todd in The Fox and the Hound. That's right, this man made you cry when you were 6, and he's not even sorry. Adventures in Babysitting, Hiding Out, Cousins, Toy Soldiers. If it was rented from a blockbuster between 1987 and 1994, this man was probably in it. The babysat became the babysitter. The kid became the legend. The one, the only, Keith Coogan. Welcome to the Yapper Gazette. The
What
dishes
an
are done, man.
intro.
I know.
You got me good. You got me, especially Fox and the Hound, man. But you got me because we weren't trying to make anyone cry. We were just being happy kids, and the story was written to make you cry. So we had a lot of fun.
Exactly. We're a big Disney
That was a
family,
great
so
intro. You even got deep cuts in there. Um, and I did do a babysitter movie or two.
or two.
Don't Tell My Babysitter's Dead was originally titled The Real World when we read the script and when we signed on and
Are
when
you
we started.
serious?
It was called The Real World because it's about her going in to get a
Oh my
job and has to
God.
pretend to be an adult and take care of the kids. And it was like Secret of My Success or Working Girl. So
That's so funny.
halfway through the movie, they go, "Well, we have some marketing issues." Number one, MTV has a series coming out called The Real World, a reality show. And they said, "What's a reality show?" They go, "Never mind, but just we should change the title." So we hired a couple of marketing companies, and they all put together potential names to name the movie. And they had a list of 100 names, blind test. And they gave it to a bunch of 12-year-old kids. And they said, out of this, which movie would you want to see the most? And the title it was picked was "Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead." So
Of
and
course.
we were aghast. We were absolutely like, this can't be. We're making a serious movie about her growing up in the office, and this is. And then we realized it was the only thing it could be called. It would capture the essence of it perfectly, and the zinger of, yeah, we deal with the babysitter for about a half an hour. Then you forget about her, and then you get at the end. Where's the babysitter? It's perfect.
Yeah, but bless those 12-year-olds that had a vision. Are the dishes ever really done?
No, and there's a web page that goes through famous philosophers, Kierkegaard and Jung and Freud, and they go. One of them said, "Well, the question is moot because the dishes are no longer. So the question of whether to do the dishes is now lifted as a burden." Others are like, "Well, why do the dishes need to be done? It was somebody's responsibility, probably to do with the mother." It's a great web page. Look up "Dishes Are Done" and philosophy, and you'll be very interested. Because I was a nerd. I read all that stuff. I read all the poetry, all the philosopher stuff. As a kid, my favorite book at 8 years old was Mutiny on the Bounty by Captain Bligh. Like a semi biographical, real adventure and stuff, but it was also way too naughty. I shouldn't have been reading that at 8.
I'm like heavy into pop culture, and I have to say, excuse me for this, but for a long time I didn't realize the Coogan account was directly related to you. So, because I read, so many childhood actor memoirs, and they would talk about that. Of the only reason that they had any
Yeah,
money when they turned
exactly.
18 is because of the Coogan Act. So, for the viewers that are watching that don't necessarily understand what it is an act that essentially protects child actors' earnings. Parents are required to put at least 15% into what is essentially a trust fund that the kids can touch when they are legally an adult or become emancipated. Now, your grandfather, Jackie Coogan, was the first child star, the kid with Chaplin, later Uncle Fester. The Coogan Act exists because of what happened to him. As a working kid actor yourself, what did those protections like actually mean for you? And did you feel the difference that his fight made?
So I learned that in 1938, Roosevelt did a minor labor bill for minors and, grocery store bag boys and for kids working in sweatshops and kids working on farms. And he goes, there's hour restrictions. You got to give them school. If they earn money at a job outside of the home, then like a bit of it is theirs. And they're like, wow. Um, but Roosevelt put in a Shirley Temple exemption, and they said kids in Hollywood have no labor protections. So, my grandfather had done most of his work. He was maybe 20 something. He was born in 1914. So by 1938, he was ready for his money. Betty Grable was sick of supporting him. He was married to Betty Grable at the time. She goes, get your money, Jack. He goes, and his father had passed away in a terrible car wreck that killed his best friend, a writer of Jackie Coogan Productions, a ranch hand of the Coogan Ranch, and his father, my great grandfather, who actually started vaudeville and was in two reelers with Fatty Arbuckle and Buster Keaton. So fourth generation. I know I hate to say it. It sounds all douchey, but
It's so good for
we're
the
a bunch of
story.
hams, and we're a bunch of hams.
Yeah.
So what was needed when he lost his money famously? They went to the trial, and they said legally, the mom goes, legally he's not entitled to anything, and they're like, you're right. There's no law that says you got to give him anything. You're kind of a jerk. And she goes, no, I'm the goose that laid the gold egg, is what I am. Her and the business manager quickly remarried, and they went through all the money. So, and they said, well, the dad whose dad passed, he had the most tickets out on the coffers of the production company money. There was supposed to be $4 million on merchandising and the making the films, and that's about 50, maybe 60 million in today's money. And they said his for meals and dinners and rides and hushing up showgirls, my great grandfather had taken 80,000. So that's not exactly robbing my grandfather blind. It was the great grandmother Lillian that did it with the manager. So the judge in the circuit court and judge, he goes, well, you lose this one, Jackie, but I happen to sit over all the contracts in Hollywood. Next time they try or hire a kid, we're going to have some rules and everything like that. So that in 39, 38 was the trial, and then in 39 was the it's the California Child Actor Labor Bill, and then quotes it says the Coogan Act, and I'm glad that it is the model used in New York and Jersey and Mississippi and other states when they look, because it covers everything: working hours, schooling, having another third party, a social worker. The teacher is usually the social worker, and what's going on with the money.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see that transfer over to social media now with states requiring the same thing. Like if you have a child in your content and you're making money off of it, you're required to now put a certain percentage. Of course, it's not every state, unfortunately.
Yep. Finally, was work permit, which was based on your grades. You have to have above C average. So so all areas are kind of, and I'm glad there are 15 states at least. And this was at the time of one of the documentaries. A bunch of child stars were making documentaries. It was so great to see my grandfather's little, minute come up. I'm like, well, there he is. Yep, that's so great that they acknowledge and recognize. They redid the Coogan Act in California to make it electronic, so that it just automatically part of the check goes to the account. So it's not up to the parent to like, oh yeah, yeah, I'll put it away. Because prior to that,
Yeah,
it wasn't
because
followed
they're
at all.
not. Unfortunately, a large portion isn't.
Yeah.
Well, you guested on basically every classic show back in the day: Love Boat, Mork and Mindy, Knight Rider, Little House, Chips. What is the set that young you was most starstruck to walk into?
Oh, Mork and Mindy, Robin Williams. We'd already watched the show, watched reruns, and been to live tapings of the show. My episode happened to be the last episode of Mork and Mindy ever. Gotta Run Part 3. And I was a student newspaper kid. I'm 12, 13, however old. And I'm interviewing Mirth, Jonathan Winters. So I had weird Jonathan Winters who would never break character and was always being weird. and Robin Williams dealing with the fact that we found out that they weren't getting picked up while we were doing the episode. So I couldn't
Wow.
say I knew what it was. Oh, and by that time they'd wrecked the Pam Dauber apartment set. So it was all trashed because Exodor had come and I don't know, one of the bad guys had come and wrecked it, shot it up with lasers. So I didn't even get to see I was like, kind of got robbed of that. It's like being on Happy Days, but it's the new Al's and Fonzie's got the
Yeah.
girlfriend with the little daughter. I'm like, I didn't like those episodes.
Yeah. The original's always best. And speaking of originals, you are one of the only people alive who starred in two teen babysitter movies, Brad in Adventures in Babysitting and Kenny in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Did you ever keep anything from either set?
Good question. I no, no, because that was, they spent 10 million bucks on the movie on the budget, and 1 million went to art department to build the sets and put all the props around. So I'm not gonna take any of that. That's worth more to the studio. Warner Brothers, as a matter of fact, took my wig and put it into archives. I kept a pair of Kenny's jeans. I did keep a pair of Kenny's Torrance jeans. We had a couple pairs,
Okay.
and I auctioned them on eBay to a great fan who bought them, and friends were going, you should cut them up into little 1 inch squares and sell a bunch. And I said, I think a fan will appreciate having the whole pair of jeans more. I have a whistle from
Yeah.
Cheetah, which was this beaded, handmade, like train whistle that would call the cheetah. I kept small little thing, a surfboard from my surf movie. If you use your own wardrobe, you keep that, and you're like, "Hey, this was used in the movie." I bought replicas of like one of Kenny's Metallica shirts or Megadeth shirts, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy that for autograph conventions and stuff. But I'm not one to keep a lot of the prop stuff.
Okay. You said Adventures was pushed really hard with the MPAA and probably earned the rated R. And you
Oh
tell
no,
parents to,
Adventures didn't get an R. It got
but
a
it
PG
probably
13.
would have earned.
It would have. Oh, that's what I do say. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And you tell parents to show Don't Tell Mom first. Why do you think that one holds up?
Oh, because it's so cleverly written. There's such great dialogue. It's such fast pacing, and the way that anything that is even slightly raunchy is delivered goes right over your head when you're 8. But a really bad, dirty
Yeah.
word said in a way, So because I've had stories of people going, "Yeah, I showed my 10-year-old thing," and all day long they're like saying one of the I think Adventures of Babysitting has like 5 of the 7 words you can't say on television. And that was supposed to be the danger or the edge part of like, whoa, they're really talking adult language. At one point, they go, if we keep going, Maya Bruton, who played little Sarah Anderson, she won't be able to see this movie. And we thought about it, and we're like, all right. But also remember, the PG-13 rating was new. I think it had started around 83 or 84 with Red Dawn, and it was also exacerbated. I love saying words wrong. Or right, I don't even know. I read so much that I've never heard someone say a word out loud. So I love when they inflamed it with Gremlins, which was written by Chris Columbus. And so they're already on edge with like, we know this writer is a little subversive and will not only blend up a gremlin in the kitchen, but then also tell a story of a dead father in a Santa suit trapped in the chimney at Christmas, and you could smell him. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's always subjective because if you see Jaws is PG. What?
Yeah.
So
And,
obviously they've
and
moved the line, they moved the needle, and so we just said, "Hey, we're being progressive here." We argued that the "Don't Mess with the Babysitter" is really one instance. There's the setup and the payoff, and it's right next to each other. There's no line set between them. And Elizabeth Shue is from New England. She pronounces it F-O-K. I don't know. I'm not going to swear on your channel, but
it's okay.
yeah, they uh, they bought it, and it's not like there's like anybody gets stabbed, or oh wait, Brad gets stabbed. One stitch. It's not like there's any guns. Oh wait, the
Yeah.
crazy guy in the bus station. It's not like anybody tries to
Well,
run over the kids with a Cadillac. Oh wait, they do that the whole movie. Um, so I just love how it's not like there's a gang fight on the subway. Oh my god, that was fun. We were committed. We went. We got to make the babysitting blues work. We got to make the gang fight work. And what was the other sequence? Maybe the on hanging out of the building, all that stuff. Parents' party, I think. And we're like, we just got to make these sequences believable, buyable, and like Move quick. If there's a plot point, just move fast enough to the next location and out of the frying pan into the fryer for these kids the whole movie.
The fact that it's so believable, because like we obviously we still watch it all the time. We're actually getting ready to show our kids the movie for the first time, because like my husband and I were talking about everything, and he's such a big fan, obviously, as am I, and we're talking about who I'm interviewing, and we're going through the movies, and I said, don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. And of course, my son, he would have been a prime. He probably would have been one of those kids. And that he was like, I want to watch that now. And because he heard the title. So I think it's the
That's
title,
great.
the cast, and the chemistry between all of you guys, how funny it was. And it was so believable for that time of again, that was a time where kids could be left at home alone. And, the scenarios that you were in were like, okay, I could see this legit happening.
Well, it sounds like you've heard of a podcast or two that I've been on. And I have definitely talked about there was the economics, the Reaganomics, two working adults in the household. Both parents had to work, and there's ERA, and the mom's selling real estate, and the dad's doing this. And so you just had no supervision. Um, and you had a key around your neck or in your little thing in your shoe, that little pocket. They're like, oh, it's for change. They're like, no, the lonely kids, that's for their key. So they can let themselves in, make some food, watch cartoon, do their damn homework, and try to watch Scrambled, something on Skinamax or something.
Hmm.
Um, just up to no good. Eating baker's chocolate. Oh God, ooh, that's nasty. But just be getting into trouble, basically. And also, we were kicked out of the house. Go outside, come back when the sun goes down or when the lights come on. Uh,
Yes.
and so we rode our bikes and we rode them for miles and we rode them everywhere. Bless you.
Thank you.
And and we were in gangs, packs of two, three, six kids, and the dynamic was always different of how many kids there were. There was just the more kids, the more property destruction is going to happen, especially with the boys. Sorry, we were just love to set things on fire and build stuff, and let's move that over there. So we found a treasure and pirate ships. We found aliens, and we got scared by Bigfoot, and so we had those mysteries. That's why the movies reflected that. And it got so bad at one point they shot the kids into space with Space Camp. Like, where are the kids? They're orbiting. Yeah, there's a problem. Um, so there was a neglect factor and that was family entertainment. Like all of those movies were geared for the whole family to watch and learn that lesson of switch. Basically, spend time with your family. It only goes around once.
Yeah.
Um,
Pay attention to your kids. Don't hire a babysitter that's 90,
No, and I
maybe.
think what you guys got as millennials, especially your exact age, is there was a PC culture in the early 90s. They
Hmm.
snapped down. Also, the economy showed up to where one person could support. You walk down the street and they're like, "You want a job? You want a job?" It was great. So they got away. They got rid of all that stuff, and they also the helicopter parents. They were putting leashes on children at the
Yeah.
supermarket. It just became a parenting style to really keep the kid close. And so maybe they let go of that by the time, 9/11 happened. They're drinking in the corner, smoking. And you're like, Mom, you don't smoke. They're like, shut up. They're coming to kill us. You're like, what is going on? The parents are falling apart. Like when Kennedy got shot. My mom said that. My mom was 10 when Kennedy got shot. She goes, I didn't care who the president was or whatever. She goes, but it really messed up all the adults in my life. They all became alcoholics and just they degenerate at that point. They're like, there's no law, there's no right or there's no rhyme or reason, there's no right or wrong, there's no justice, and so that was that. And also, there's a generation that woke up to this disaster, then they got hit by this, and then an economic downturn, and then this, and the 70s a lot it doesn't repeat exactly but it rhymes. There was a gas crisis in the 70s. We had overseas for it. I grew up, Vietnam wasn't over yet. I was still a few years old. I was like 4, I think, when they finally ended it all. I was very aware of activism and Greenpeace, and for a long time the hippies have been saying don't cut down the trees. we they trade the carbon dioxide and they give oxygens. Don't cut down the old growth. Don't. They would sit in trees. They would glue themselves to these trees, and they've been doing that since the 90s. that activism, and also you see them on the Greenpeace ones are crazy, taking on the whalers, and they're in these little like blow up dirigibles. The waves are going, harpoons are getting shot at them. Like they got they got balls. We did have a bit of activism that was, We Are the World, Hands Across America. Everyone, it was kind of like the
Yeah.
first kind of phoning it in, like, yeah, I'll do a I'll make my profile this color, or I'll like that thing, or I'll share that. I've
Yeah.
done my activism now for the day. That's when it came easy, I think, to kind of do activism. Hey, if you buy a Coca Cola and you tune in the tab, then you also gives to feed the kids. Okay, cool. He was the first child star, and has the labor laws after him, and he has a great comeback later. But he's also the first child star. He was the first celebrity to lend his name to a humanitarian with the Near East Relief, and he did raised money. Going and seeing a Jackie Coogan movie was a can of condensed milk, or shoes, or an item of clothing, and then you get in to see one of his movies, and then he collected that on his own train, and then he put that into a couple of barges and took that to Greece, is where they dropped everything off so they could get it up to Armenia and the camps, and he fed and clothed everyone that were in the orphan camps. uh, so that was, he's like, Daddy, can I do anything for these kids? And the dad's like, sure, throw a circus. And they threw a circus and raised some money. He goes, I want to do more. And then they had the Children's Crusade, is what it was called. And after that, war bonds tripped in 40s and World War II, and all the celebrities were selling war bonds and signing up and joining. And so humanitarian causes finally became pretty derriere. Did you get it? I don't know how to pronounce that. I didn't speak French. I took Spanish because I lived in Southern California. I was like, I don't need Spanish. And all the cute
Yeah.
girls
Smart
took
move.
French. And I was like, I made a mistake. I should have taken French. But I was with the geeks and the outcasts and the anarchists and the punk rockers.
Of
And
course.
I'd hang out with the surfers and stuff, but I wasn't really a surfer. I'd hang out with the volleyball, but I wasn't really volleyball. Just a nerd, good old nerd. We Dexters, we called ourselves. We had like punk rocks, punk for survival. We were Dexters for survival, DFS. We were in the Gate program, which I don't know if you've seen stuff about the Gate
Yes.
program. I was
Oh,
in the
this
Gate
is why,
program.
like, oh my God, you would love TikTok right now. Like, you would, this is a story for TikTok. You need to do a video, open up your camera, and tell that, and that should be your first TikTok story. And I guarantee you it will hit 1 million views.
I had everything I remember except the pink drink. But
But
what
there's,
disappointed me, I learned it wasn't necessarily for the Dexters or the little genius kids, or the psychic kids. That it was also for neurodivergent kids, and that they put newspaper on the windows, not to prevent the regular kids from looking in and all the smart kids. It was to prevent the ADHD kids from being distracted by playing handball outside. And I was like, I didn't learn that until now and reading the Reddit stuff.
yeah, there's a whole, like, I just watched a TikTok the other night. I saved it. I can send you a link after this for some of them. You would get a kick out of them. And like, there's so many conspiracy theories out there of like some people thinking like that all of this is made up and that the gate program never existed. And then some people are like digging out the
Think
binders that
about
they
it.
had.
Think about it. In a country that tax dollars are going to public schools, and then they segregate them, and they go, you know what? Yeah, we have remedial math and remedial reading and stuff, and those are fun because they're always taught by the PE teacher or the art teacher or whatever. It's like, I'll take those classes. Um, but then they go, what if we did the other end? We had a thing called CTBS tests, which were bubbles, and it was standardized testing, and it was a bell curve. My group of 9 friends, 8 or 9, 99 percentile, all of us, like, just ace these things. Like, we didn't even need to know a subject. We were just good at taking tests. We knew the system. We were really smart. We probably got all abused at home and were raised in psychotic, broken homes, so that we were like really sharp. And coupled with a pretty good, we had Prop 13, which limited property taxes that could go towards education, but we're also in Malibu. So the property taxes are at the max. Whatever the limit is because of that property 13, Prop 13. Trust me, we had all the handballs and they did Battle of the Network Stars on our junior high soccer field. Like they recorded the network show on our junior high. Remember the UK people came over and they go, "This is a high school football stadium." They're like, "This is better than the national stadium at home." We're like, "That's not even the main school in town." Never mind. We'll get to all that later. Well, we don't have the control over our lives. We are stressed out. We work a lot, and that's why we like our stories, our shows, our entertainment, our social media. Doom scrolling. It's not doom scrolling. It is, like you said, it's been curated already for all the things you like. So if you need 20 minutes, you go ahead and put night mode, and when you go to bed, honey, I'm going to bed. And all of a sudden, I start getting memes from my wife, and I'm like, she just sent that, but she's in bed. Nah, she's not in bed. She's because social media is new and it's wiring the brains differently.
It's
I got
your
my first
outlet.
computer at 16 years old, an Apple IIc. School also that year got Apple IIes, the Brown Tower, and that was slow. There was internet, but it was you put the phone in the thing and it would dial up and 56K. Wow, very fast. I think I started with like an 18 baud. Anyway, so then the kids got computers in schools. Then they got tablets. Then they got phones. And now the amount of information that's coming in is much different developmentally for where you are at 8 or 10 or 14 or whatever. It's a lot. There's a lot out there. And I consumed a lot of books. That didn't kill me, but it's more. I mean,
Yeah. I want to talk to you about the obviously your most iconic line that has been quoted at you for what feels like obviously over 30 years. The dishes are done, man. Does that feel like a gift or a sentence?
oh, huge gift. Um, I haven't. Although Kenny was modeled after Neil Landau, the writer, one of the writers, Tara Eisen. They were a partnership where they write every line together, like bouncing it off as scene partners. That's why there's dialogue so snappy. He goes, "Kenny's his brother." He goes, "That was my brother." I go, "Okay." But I found a copy of the script, and the line isn't in there. It just says Kenny's on the roof shooting the dishes with his friends. No dialogue. So it could have been later pages, or somebody wrote a great line. So much so we'd already shot the scene where she goes, your lazy friends do the mow the lawn and don't forget to do the dishes. And I kind of roll over, sleep, and I'm like, I'll do the dishes. So I didn't say that when we filmed that because the dishes are done line wasn't in the script yet. So once I filmed the dishes are done line, I came back and I looped, well, I'll do the dishes just so it was setting up the joke better. And I got really lucky because it was in the trailer. So they had a great 2 minute trailer that still is a good synopsis of the movie. It's fun, it's got the music, and it is the end of the trailer. So you didn't even have to see the movie because they advertised it for a week. That's all they did was play that dang trailer. So I got very lucky. And done the math on how many people saw the movie based on how much it made and average ticket prices. Maybe 3 million people went to theaters and saw it and paid, 15 bucks, whatever, 10 bucks, whatever it was. So about 300 million people. That's 1 out of 100 people and then if you didn't even see the movie, you were exposed to the commercial. So I got very lucky there. It is a good laugh in the movie. It's set up well. Christina's amazing. Yeah, I just got really lucky with the line, and it has. T-shirts I see with it, and people do their taxes. They're like, "The taxes are done, man." Um, I love it, and I love that Kenny has inspired people to get off the couch, go to Culinary Academy, and become gourmet chefs. That's actually happened quite a bit, and I love that he's inspired people to, I don't know, just do something.
You came back for the 2024 Don't Tell Mom remake as Asher alongside Joanna Cassidy and Danielle Harris from the originals. What was it like handling the premise to a new cast decades later?
What was great was the writer Chuck Hayward, who also wrote Dear White People, WandaVision, and the last season of Ted Lasso, which he also produced. Um, he said that there's just a different underlying story between Christina, who doesn't really have a lot to do with the kids, and she's off. She's thinking about school or not, and boys or whatever. Smoking in front of her mother. That was crazy. Whereas uh, Tanya, Nicole Joy Jones, Simone Joy Jones, she's been involved with taking care of her siblings, and she's been helping her mom because once again, dad's not there. Um, so he goes, there's a little bit of different family dynamic for black families, and there is way more meat on the bone. I consider us a camp film. It is camp, but it's got some truths under there. It's good lessons. And the new Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter is Dead, although it's hung on the same bones, same story, same themes, something else. There's something underlying. There's a good bottom to it. There's something. It means more. And they have a scene that we don't have, and I think it was key. And I wish we had it. It is when Kenny cooks the lunch for his sister that she would have had if she'd gotten to go on the vacation with her friends. And I went, oh, we needed that. So they did a great job, and I was there on the set a lot. I shot the behind the scenes. So if you go to YouTube and you type in "making of Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead," you'll see a 7-minute piece I did on how much fun it
To
was
today.
remaking it. Yeah, thank you.
So you're a fixture on the convention circuit now. I know you've obviously it's a more popular thing now, especially with your era of actors with like fans really wanting that nostalgia. You write, you direct, you produce your own stuff. Is the fan con world the best kept secret for an actor of your era? And what's the wildest autograph table encounter you've had?
Oh, it is best kept secret. I don't know if it's a secret because I get contacted by a lot of other former child stars and stuff. They're like, "Hey, I see you do a lot of cons. How do I kind of get involved in that?" And they know it is a great opportunity. I had to kind of get over my ego because I thought, you're standing on the corners taking $20. I felt very merchandised, very sold. And so I didn't do it for a long time. Then finally, I was convinced to try it. And immediately, the fan interaction. Also, part of also being a part of the community, the way that I serve. I don't really talk politics, but I do the community service. Like I work the polls, I do the census. I've done it, to this last time and the time before, and I do. I actually serve jury duty. Just come on, this is somebody's got to do these things, right? Is that in census, I've learned that you never learn more about the people in the United States of America than if you do something that is door to door. Oh my God, people are absolutely crazy.
Mhm.
So I already know people are crazy because I've done the census. And what's great though is the commonality between the fans is that uh, the piece had entertained them, and I acknowledge I'm just a small piece. I didn't direct it, I didn't write it, I didn't do the poster, but I was in the middle of like a career. It was like really my family was like, "Here's how you do it: do commercials and then guest appearances, movies of the week, and then movies and and then theater. Then you start all over again." And I'm like, "All right." Um, I was inoculated to the ups and downs of the industry. I had family that understood it. You didn't get any points for booking a show. You got points for picking up the dog poop or like doing your chores. Did you make your bed? And like, yeah, we don't care about the episodic you got. Um, so the conventions is such a great way to meet people, and you've got people that are volunteering. They work all the conventions, so you see them from city to city. I'm like, oh, they're like not groupies. What's the term that she says in Almost Famous? We're supporters or something like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
band-aids, band-aids. You and they support the stars and also kind of help with the interaction with the fans. My wife Pinky goes with me to every con. She's always been by my side, and she helps. And if I'm talking to somebody and signing something, she'll kind of help the next person what they're looking for and help them, kind of walk through the whole thing. And I never touch the money. I don't understand money. I'm an actor. I'm literally like Danny DeVito in Get Shorty. I'm like, no, I don't. Not my area, not my department. Just be the funny man. They are work, doing personal appearances, doing in stores for a band trying to release a CD, doing the circuit when you're on the award circuit and you're following and doing Q&As with your show that's on Amazon and you really want that Emmy. That's all. That's the work. The work isn't standing on a mark. The work isn't standing in the front of the microphone. The work is trying to get work and trying to promote the work.
We're going to GalaxyCon this week, and it's a really good convention that I think you could be perfect at. It's very nostalgic, very like 80s and 90s driven. I just came back from Indiana Comic Con last month, where we met Nick Cage because he did his first ever fan convention. And
Wow. Do you know how much he
yeah, that
made?
was, I guarantee millions.
No, he didn't
And
make
he
millions.
was,
He didn't make millions, but he had a very good guarantee. I have heard
oh, very
insider
good.
gossip. I've heard insider gossip.
Okay.
And it's healthy. It's the A list. Like, leave some crumbs for the rest of us because it drains a show. They have to put out hundreds of $1,000s to get these big stars, and if like it's not busy or there's something happens, they're out a lot of money and they could go under. And so
Mhm.
that's like a big risk. You know, it's usually definitely the hottest thing that they know they'll make it back, but that it's always nice to have me. So here's me and my wife. Here's how we pitch ourselves to cons. They go, well, you're not going to sell 15,000 tickets. I go, I'm not going to sell 15,000 tickets, but the big A-lister Nick Cage is going to sell. A bunch of people will buy admission tickets just to come see Nick Cage. You can make lots of money there, but that might be a quick experience. They said some actors don't even look up. They'll sign the thing. Here you go. Yeah, great. And I'm there to talk to them about not even my own movies. I will nerd out on other things and pop culture and toys and all that stuff. So they at least they go, I want to win best fan experience. Like, yeah, man, he really gave a lot of good time. And we took a lot of selfies, and
You're
we had
there
a lot
for
of
the
fun.
heart of the con.
Bingo. There was an article I read that said like the Comic Cons have lost some of their sauce because the focus on comics is gone. They don't have as much
Yeah.
comic book art, as much comic stuff. I know anime has taken over seriously. My God, the anime stuff is really popular. I got lucky with Dishes Are Done, man,
I was going to
because it's
say,
associated with dishes. I sell dishes. I sign a little salad plate. The dishes are done, man. Keith Coogan, Kenny. I'll make it out to them. I'll do quotes, whatever they want me to say, and I sell them on my website and at autograph conventions. And that has been, a nice little piece for people to have, or, they love the line they have. So I've found a way to, and so at the time that
it's
got
safe.
monetized on Facebook, what I noticed was right away, because I was doing 3 reels a day, more people were showing up at conventions. Because before I would get, oh, I didn't even know you were here. Now they're like, dude, I saw your reel from the road and I came. And I'm like, you drove how far and you brought the DVD for me to sign. So I go, forget monetization. That was a $40 sale. So already, so what I made $2 today on Facebook, I made $42 really because that sale was directly from a Facebook post, if that makes
Exactly.
sense. Monetization
Yes,
can just be focus and attention directed right to your capital,
exactly.
your thing. And the thing though also has to spark nostalgia. It has to be something that people want.
Yeah. People do what is ridiculous things with money, but so Kenny was obviously very popular in the stoner culture for his munchies. So our most important question of the day, what is your actual comfort food? What is the one meal you could eat on set for every film for the rest of your life?
Oh wow. That is tough. You do get catering that can be repetitive, and that's the chicken again, and the thing and salad. Yeah, okay. Um, ribs is great. That's messy with costumes. Um, Sometimes your emotional scene, you don't want to eat too much. It's good for actors to be hungry. Sometimes you can see it in their eyes. Uh, they're they can also just feed you too much, and all of a sudden your costume doesn't fit anymore. So it's particular, but usually they have a basic chicken or meat and a pasta or a rice and bread, and I'm fine. I run on carbs and protein and sugar. I just pound the coffees and sugars and whatever snacks are around, chips, all that other stuff. That keeps you going to do a 10 or 12 hour day, no problem.
Defend the most indefensible opinion that you hold. What ruffles people's feathers?
Oh, so I see this is it's not indefensible, but it's just something they're like, why do you even care? It is like Scorsese said, a filmmaker makes a movie to be seen a certain way, and so when they letterbox it or pan and scan it, or there's a million ways that a movie could be ruined in the post, like in distribution and stuff like that. And so it's that motion smoothing. It is when people set their TVs wrong, and I'll see it at a hotel where you can't access the settings and change it. And you're like, oh God, it's torture. It is just, I've gotten used to seeing something a certain way, and they're like, this is the hill you want to die on? And I'm like, yes, this is the hill I want to die on.
That's perfect. Where can the fans support and find you at these days?
KeithCooganOnline.com and all the socials, Keith Coogan.
Amazing. Is there anything else that you might want to plug?
Oh,
Any
I
upcoming
just
projects?
right now I'm editing a documentary I did the making of. I did a horror comedy, found
Okay.
footage mockumentary with Corin Nemec, Parker Lewis Can't Lose, Stargate SG-1, The Stand, and David Faustino, Starving and Married with Children. And it is called Chickenhead. It is about a 6.5 foot, half man, half chicken that terrorizes the swinger community of Gallus, Florida. A documentary film crew goes in to figure it out on the anniversary of the slaying, goes in and they all get murdered. And it was shot multicam with GoPros on our heads and faces and trail cameras and security cameras. And it was unique in filming. I am very excited about the documentary just to show how um, you can take risks with, because it's a silly movie. It's there's a certain audience of people that are like, I'm not in art film. I don't watch that. I don't care about that. And I tell them about the 6.5 foot, half man, half chicken, and they go, "Oh, I'll see that." They're like, "That's exactly up my
Yeah,
alley."
sign me up.
Horror
When is
fans,
that going to come
comedy
out?
fans. So it's being edited right now. We finished filming just a month or two ago. So we're promoting it and loving it, and it's going to show up at the cons and festival circuits at first, and we'll see. We've seen some of it done before, but not this way. It's really clever. Everything's relationship based. It's just really smartly written script. And then you go, well, it is a horror movie. And the horror fans are very fetishistic. They buy the box set and the steel case. They buy the butcher knife and the mask, and they get the whole cast to sign it. So we're hoping that Corin's fan base, David Faustino's fan base, my fan base, we hope they support the film. We've got a lot of other actors, comics, local comics that we want to promote them. They're also actors. They're great at improvising. So we just hope we have some magic and that people are entertained by it and laugh. And we hope it becomes the next Terrifier. And there's a 1, and there's a Chickenhead 3, the Cluckening, the whole thing. So I don't know when it's released, but when it comes out, you will cluck around and find out.
Well, I can't wait to cluck around and find out. Thank you so much for your time
Thank
today,
you.
Keith. It has been an absolute blast yapping with you, and I look forward to our next yap session.
Absolutely. I'll try to get into the Galaxy Con. That sounds great. And thank you
Yeah.
so much for your time.
Scan and go. Do scan and go. Do scan and go. Do scan and go.
That's the tape, that's the yap, we're done. Thanks for hanging where the gossip spun. Touch some grass, it's free, they say. We'll be yapping again some other day. All yaps reserved.